Hello, everybody. It's me, Beth Maitland from Drama Queen Bee Quilt Studio. And I am sending my best wishes to all of you, having the close of a lovely weekend come to fruition. This is Veterans Day weekend, and in America, here we are going to celebrate this upcoming week all of our veterans and their service to our country. On Tuesday is the actual day. And I am making my final threefold pouch as a class sample for my upcoming course in 2 weeks at Roxanne's. And my friend Myra and I have headed down there today to Santa Barbara, to Carpinteria, and we have spent a few hours at the holiday open house at Roxanne's, spread out kind of all around with some of our projects from our previous classes over the last year or so. So this is my layout in a cream and neutral colorway with blacks and whites, a little bit of browns, a little bit of beiges on a piece of Battenberg. This is a scrap slash a thrifted strip of Battenberg, slightly bigger than our red and our blue threefold pouch videos that you saw earlier on my channel that are going to be class samples. This is a beige colorway. I just wanted to try something a little bit different. And it is a piece of Battenberg from a bed skirt that a friend of mine gave me because she knows I cut all of this stuff up. If it's been ruined, this one was ripped at several corners. It was stained. So I took out a chunk. I picked out a little neutral backing fabric. I backed the original piece with batting for loft, and I am now doing the layout, trying to figure out where the folds are going to go as I pin in place all of my other little elements. There's some writing, there's some labels from Tim Holtz Fabrics, there's more writing, there's I've made Suffolk Puffs in sort of a ticking stripe as well as a neutral creamier color to pick up the brown. And I've used white lace and I've used inserts of vintage lace, a crocheted doily that is sort of a coaster size, a small round doily, and then some other sort of neutral scraps of fabric with some nature elements that I've worked in as well. And this is my little doily I was talking about, and a strip of pure white vintage lace. So I'm just working on the layout, figuring things out. And as you know, in a threefold pouch, orientation is important. You don't want to have elements that are three-dimensional on where you have a fold, unless that's part of your design, like a yo-yo or piece of lace going over the fold. You want to be careful where you put things. I don't want to put my little busy bee in a spot that can't be seen on a fold or hidden inside the pouch, unless that's where I want it to peek out. I am going to remove the lining and tack everything down. This is a piece of what's going to be binding that I'm going to fold over to encapsule the edges when I put the lining back on. But right now it's just pinned in place. I need to sew all of these things down. So today we're going to just chat for a little while I do that. I'm going to remove my lining fabric, and now you can see the batting and the places that I've tacked down all of the lace elements. And now we're going to just sew down a few things. I just use, like I said, I'm happy with where it's pinned. So I just use a construction thread that is a cotton. This is, oh, you're hearing dinging. I think that's my computer receiving texts or something. Anyway, multitasking. This is cotton, and it's for sewing on the sewing machine, and it is for putting together the quilt tops, so the piecing process. But it works great as a construction thread just to tack all of these things down. So I use a single strand. I'll knot off, but I won't double it. I will tie my knot on just one piece of the thread, and then just tack everything down, which you're going to see me do in just a minute as we also sit and chat. So today was really fun. I'm going to put a picture at the end of this video of my little display in the workroom, the classroom at Roxanne's. I put my top hat and several of my table topper things and several of the projects we've made over the course of the year using slow stitching. I laid those all out. I talked to some lovely people. I gave away some postcards with my website information so that they can look me up and learn more about slow stitching. I have several people signed up for the class, which I'm really happy about. So I'm going to put up my little table decoration spot. I took a quick snap of that. And then I'm also, by the time I finished this video, it was too late to go back and do more on this reel. So off camera, I finished this little pouch we're going to work on. So I'll also put at the end of the video a few snaps of the finished pouch, the inside flap open and then turned over on the back, so you can take a look at that. So that'll be toward the end. In the meantime, how was your weekend? I hope that you had a really good time. Myra and Myra's my student who went with me to Roxanne's today, had a great drive. It's a beautiful weekend. There was fog in some areas, and then the sun, we drove a little further and the sun came out. We stopped in Santa Barbara for lunch at a favorite natural restaurant, and that was super fun. And we sat outside. It's beautiful still. Even though it's autumn, it's not quite cold yet. A little foggy, a little winter threatening, but it's supposed to rain at the end of this week, so it wasn't entirely a day that we couldn't sit outside and enjoy it. It was just beautiful, and lots of chit chat about health, about gratitude, about slow stitching, making us sort of center our thoughts and give us a relaxing spot for us to kind of close our day in the evening. I had a little tour of Myra's sewing room, which she decorated beautifully in fabulous bright colors and bright 60s wallpaper, tiny floral on two walls, and then one wall, fantastic 60s cats. Picture it with on 60s angular sofas with angular lamps, maybe even a lava lamp or two. I can't remember. Anyway, her room is bright and cheerful. She's got a nice window by her sewing machine station, and beautiful embroidered chairs in all wild, crazy colors of pink and aqua turquoise teal. Just a lively room full of inspiration and full of fun. So that was a fun little treat to get a little sewing room tour in our sewing excursion day. So that was fun. So tell me, what else is going on? I almost bought a frivolous thing, a big thing. I almost bought a car. I bought myself a car for my birthday in May, and it did not work out. I bought a used car, but it's a car I used to own. The make, the model, the year, the color, everything. It wasn't my original car, but ever since I sold it, I wanted it back. So here we are, many years down the road. I decided I was going to buy that car back for my birthday, and it all went horribly wrong. I didn't get that car. I had it shipped from a dealer far away. I didn't get 7 miles down the road before all the oil lights went on and all kinds of disaster happened. And I took it straight. It said stop driving it, and I didn't need to have it towed. I talked to they recommended with the warranty a repair place about 10 miles away. I called the repair place. They told me what to buy, put oil in it. If the oil doesn't all leak out, you can drive it here. So I did that. But I never saw the car for 10 days. And every time they said it was done, I went to pick it up. I didn't even get to the on-ramp of the freeway from picking it up 3 different times before either the oil light came back on or the engine sound clunked, or it was leaking oil before I even got home with it. So it was a disaster, and I ended up having to go up the corporate chain and get a special customer care department group to work with me to try to figure out what to do about solving all the problems with the car. And I ended up returning it, and they gave me my money back, and it turned out fine, but it was so disappointing. So I haven't gotten over it, and every now and then I look around just to see if that car comes back into my my atmosphere, my rotation of the planets, and I found it again this week. A different version, obviously, and a different color this time, but I almost bought it, and I decided not to, and I'm glad I didn't. Sense and sensibility prevailed, but I even at my age, people can still do really emotional, really sort of spontaneous, kind of crazy stuff. And I'm really practical and I'm really cautious and careful. I'm alone. It's only me. So my daughter is flying. She's going on with her life, and she's got a serious partner, and they live together, and he's lovely, and I mean they're getting very serious, and her life is going on in other places, and that's the way it should be. And so I just dodged a bullet. I keep thinking, oh, I really want this. This would be so much fun to go to quilt things in, but it's a convertible. You were waiting for the C word, weren't you? um, and but I just made myself. Sense prevailed, practicality prevailed, and so that almost happened. And does anybody else do that? Do you guys do spontaneous, wild kind of things every now and then? Does it just take over? I don't know. I just thought I was over that inclination, but I guess there's always this undercurrent, I guess, that we sort of tickling us, that we just sometimes we need to do kind of wild things to keep us remembering we're still alive and vigorous and thriving and full of imagination and fun. So anyway, so now let's see where we are with our sewing. I plan out my construction like I plan my long arming. Because I'm a long armor, I go from block to block to block. You're always plotting your route like a route on a map, because you don't want to go over your stitches too many times in a row. So I'm always sort of plotting ahead where I'm going to go with this. So when I'm sewing stuff down, these various elements, I will actually to save thread, I'll figure out how I can get close, and what stitching I can do in number 1, number 2, number 3 across the map of my fabric project, to save thread, to not have to tie off, to not have to knot and cut and re-knot. I will, but I mean, it's a little sort of efficiency expert game that I play. I do that when I'm cooking and cleaning too. It's like I used to play a game with myself when I was a young, single, newly out of the house in my first apartment actor in Los Angeles. I would figure out how I could do the most things with the fewest amount of steps. And I called it the efficiency expert game. And I find that I still do it in various aspects of my life. Like from here to here isn't a very far distance, and I can go through batting, and I can get from here to here to that one without tying off. And then I save thread, and then and it's faster. And this is slow stitching. So to be considering, I saw, did I talk about this on a previous chat with you? I saw on a YouTube channel title of a video, a tutorial video, quick, slow stitching projects. And I laughed out loud because it's like an oxymoron, like jumbo shrimp. This is slow stitching. We're supposed to be taking our time with this. We're supposed to be enjoying the process. It shouldn't have to be quick. But I'm sure they meant simple, easy, not complicated. They don't take long to do. I'm sure that was the intention, but it made me laugh. It made me, what is the acronym? LOL. Anyway, what are you guys working on? I've seen a whole bunch. I don't know why. The class was sort of determined long before influence from YouTube channels, but I've seen a lot of threefold pouches in the last few days on YouTube as I've been checking in. Are you guys working on pouches? Is it for Christmas? Is it because the holidays are coming for Hanukkah gifts? Are we making beautiful little decorative bags to give presents in? Maybe. This one is in particular designed and sized to hold glasses. It is a glass case that someone asked me to make, and I got this big enough for Jackie O's. So I got out my biggest pair of glasses, and I made sure that this would lay out in such a way that the biggest pair of glasses I have would fit inside this, so that it wouldn't be too small. The other option is to have a couple of pair in there, from sunglasses to computer glasses or readers or whatever, and wrap one in a piece of felt or a piece of batting. And I might enclose a little second pouch that can go inside to hold a second pair of glasses. But this will eventually, when completed, be a glasses case. Our smaller ones, the blue pouch and the red pouch, are for scissors, are to hold scissors. And I have stamped snip on pieces of torn muslin, pieces of torn canvas, and also pieces of just cotton twill tape that I have a big reel of it that I bought that is blank that I use to stamp on, very similar to my little busy bee that you just saw me pointing to that I've sewn down. This little busy bee is on twill tape, and so I bought a blank set that we're sewing down now that my thumb's over. I bought a blank reel of it so that I can stamp things, words and things like for a scissor case, snips, or for pin cushion, it says pins. I stamp little. I have. It's by Pegs, P-E-G-Z, a set of stamps that are letters. You can buy them in various sizes that all are individual letters that you can click together like Legos into each other. And then you can stamp directly onto fabric or paper, whatever you're working on for scrapbookers and junk journalers. These are lovely, but really fun for fabric because they look fantastic. And it's not hard to find permanent ink that goes on, that is meant for fabric, that you can heat set with an iron or a blow dryer or in the regular dryer, tumble dryer. But anyway, so I'm going to do a video this coming week, I think, and sit down with you, and it's a sort of a mini tutorial. We're going to chat, but I'm going to tear some muslin and canvas, and we're going to experiment with stamping onto fabric, specifically for slow stitch projects. So that's been happening. Oh, for needle books, I put needles and pins. The ampersand. What is the name of the and symbol? Ampersand. Something like that. So I put needles, or I put needles and pins, or I put sewing kit. There's all kinds of variations. Obviously, you can do by snapping all of these letters together, so that you don't have. They're all straight, like Legos. They don't. It doesn't. If you sometimes stamp kits come with them, but you have to do them by hand individually, and so if you don't properly line everything up, that is a great look if you intend that, but if you want them to be straight, it's harder to do. Anyway, all right, so I think you get the idea, and I'm out of thread, so I'm going to need to start another round. So in the meantime, I think I'm going to stop here. I'm going to carry on off camera and finish the construction, tacking everything down. I'm going to do some more cantha stitching on the blank spaces. I'm going to add a little decorative colored stitches in a variegated kind of brown combination thread. It's lovely. It's a perle cotton. And so I'll put in some pics of how this all turns out. And I hope that you all have a great week. I hope that you've enjoyed our little sew and chat session. And I hope you like the pics that are coming up of my little station at the little holiday gathering today. And I will see you here really soon. Everybody have a great week. I wish you all the best. Thanks for tuning in. Thank every single one of you for your attention, your comments, your encouragement to keep these up. All the best to you from Beth Maitland at Drama Queen Bee Quilt Studio. Thanks a million. See you soon.